Cool, whenever you're ready.
Ready.
Okay, so we have 3 audience members here. Just man the audience. Terrific. So, I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about stars, the formation of stars, and how they essentially seed our galaxy with all the rest of the elements. If you go back to the initial Big Bang, what you had was a massive explosion that, once it eventually cooled, the first elements to form were essentially hydrogen and helium. Now, we can all be aware of how minuscule these elements actually are, but they do still have some mass, and when there's nothing else out there, eventually you get enough of these together, they start coalescing, they start building mass. This attracts much more particles to them, and when you have enough mass, nuclear fusion begins. Part of the reason we on Earth use fission is because we can't generate enough pressure to create nuclear fusion, essentially. But up in space, when you have billions and billions and billions of hydrogen molecules and helium molecules, eventually it will ignite, and then you have a giant ball of nuclear fusion in the sky. So when you get suns that are about our mass or smaller, they only produce several elements simply due to their size. They can't generate enough of those. About our sun, up to about 8 masses of our sun, generate another section, and all suns that are larger than this will generate a lot of the higher or the heavier elements, pardon me. So when a star is large enough, it will continue to produce heavier and heavier elements, much of in the way of a furnace, until it produces iron. Once it produces iron, that is actually too heavy, and the star begins to collapse in on itself. Over the course of a lot of time, this collapse creates what's known as a supernova, where it becomes too compact, it explodes. In that instantaneous explosion, you have the formation of very, very heavy elements that otherwise you wouldn't see anywhere else in nature. There are also super dense elements that are created for fractions of a microsecond, and then they cease to exist. But also those supernovae then expand all those elements out into the galaxies, into the universes at large, and all of the elements that we have today in our galaxy, in our solar system, are the results of supernova that have happened millions or billions of years ago. So that's a little bit about stars, a little bit about how they essentially seed our galaxies with elements. I hope you enjoyed it.